Welcome, Aquarius, to your May Moon Magic 1 month forecast for the Ascendant, the Sun, or the Moon. May has 5 key lunations, 2 of them quarter moons, always influential, but one of those is in Aquarius. The Moon, very much about nurture, protectiveness, and security, is challenged this month by the potent energies of Mars and Pluto. I'm going to share the event chart for each of those 5 events, but from a purely Aquarius perspective. By the end of the video, you'll have a much clearer understanding of what's upcoming in terms of your energy, work, relationships, and finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. Please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. On the screen, Aquarius, is the event chart for the Scorpio full moon, which provides a backdrop for the first 2 weeks of the month. And the big takeout is the moon is in the most visible part of the chart. It's in the 10th house, which is our connection to the world. But ironically, the moon is in Scorpio, which is a very complex position for the moon to be in, because Scorpio energy likes to stay out of sight. Saying it's secretive may be a little bit extreme, certainly very protective. So you may find that your emotions feel that much more on show, which could seem a little uncomfortable because the sun is in the 4th house, which has an echo of the sign of Cancer, ruled by the moon. So in a pragmatic, practical way, because it's in Taurus, asking you to work and get busy in terms of catching up on do-it-yourself or home improvements. But maybe if the work-life balance is out of kilter too much, that's something you need to address through the first 2 weeks. But Pluto, as I mentioned in my introduction, is very powerful this month. Now, initially, it's in a T-square with the moon and the sun. So whatever you're talking about, whether it's balancing childcare, parent support, your work, doing the things you need to do for your own emotional needs, it could all be a bit full on through those first 2 weeks. But I feel that Pluto is going to make you much less in the mood to compromise. And one of the reasons for that, Aquarius, is the 3 players are all in fixed signs. And being a fixed sign as you are, you know you have that part of your nature which loves a little bit of familiarity and routine. Another part of your nature can be very open to new and different things, reflecting your 2 ruling planets of Saturn and Uranus. But if something comes up through the first 2 weeks of this month which challenges the status quo, the worst you can do is completely resist, because that will create more tension. So do just be aware that you may need to flex. But if you can talk things over constructively, Saturn, your traditional ruler, forges a brilliant link to Venus in the bubbly, vivacious Gemini. But for you, the 5th house can actually be very much to do with your social interaction, but also romance. And that's suggesting if you weight your words just so, Saturn, but use the delicacy of Venus, they can land just right. And that can head off any kind of tensions. But Mars, the planet of action in Aries, in the restless 3rd house, is in a square with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, in the 6th house. There may be a temptation, whether it is to do with those do-it-yourself tasks or just in terms of getting a bit fitter, to do a bit too much through the first 10 days of this month. Just be aware of that. But if we look at the position of the quarter moon, which occurs on the 9th and provides a backdrop for the following week, the moon's in your sign, but it's in the 2nd decan, which is ruled by Mercury. So that's a chatty position. And also the position of the sun is now got the advancing Mercury coming towards it. So by the heart of the month, we have a Mercury zenith. And even if something is a bit frustrating, that may provide an opportunity to voice however you're feeling. But if someone's been quite resistant to whatever delicate conversations or hints you provided at the start of the month with Venus and Saturn, you could find your frustration peaking up. But just know the Sun is in a fabulous link to Jupiter. And that's one of astrology's luckiest influences. So if you can, see whatever circumstances you're faced with a generous heart. I think it will be helpful to you. Also, if we look at the position of Mars, that's in a growing sextile to Venus. So Venus is going to keep moving forwards, and that's going to apply back to Mars by the time of the full moon in a brilliant way. So if you are wanting to reinvigorate your social situation, despite the emphasis through the first 2/3 of this month being on very much home, emotion, and family matters, it is coming. There is a more delightful dimension. And also the moon may be squaring up with the sun. She's forging a fabulous link with Venus. So if there is someone who's taking your fancy, the chance to find just the right words or approach is really helped by that. But the Taurus super new moon at the heart of the month is a great place for the moon to be. The moon loves being in Taurus. She's exalted. But also you can see that Mercury, having gone past the sun in that conjunction, is very close to the sun and the moon still. So I think you can articulate how you feel the moon, but also with passion, the sun, but also find the right words. They're also linking the sun and the moon very well to Jupiter. The exact sextile is declined, it's separated, but it's still very positive. The other thing to really like about the heart of the month for you is if there is that person that you feel emotionally comfortable with, the new moon, the charm and the flirtation between you could really catch fire. Mars in that third house in Aries, in a conjunction with Chiron, urging you to overcome any shyness, in that brilliant sextile to Venus, really can help you to feel very alluring, but also to feel a sense of sparkle and charisma, which the other person can pick up too. That's really, really lovely. So I think it can be a very constructive new moon. But then we go to the second of the quarter moons. It's in Virgo. There's the moon, and for you, that's the eighth house. But what makes this incredibly significant is on the 21st of May, the sun moves into your fellow air sign of Gemini, but it merges almost straight away with the electric vibe of Uranus. And this quarter moon comes the day after the 23rd. And if there's someone, even someone that you've just got to know and you really like them, if they're starting to pull some signals of control and possessiveness, it might not feel good. And because Uranus is so close to the sun, that might arouse that natural instinct of yours to create space. Now, it may not be terminal. It may just be that you need a moment to adapt, particularly if you really, truly like them. But what struck me also about the quarter moon is that Venus and Mars have both moved. Mars moved on the 18th and Venus on the 19th into new homes, but they're still in a wonderful sextile. But if you are wanting to push on and finish that remodeling of your home, or get those contractors in to turn up and do what you need, the chances are it can make your home and your space feel that much better. But what is also true is the last 10 days of this month, Mars and Pluto are in a square. And that, without doubt, is one of astrology's most challenging influences. So if there is someone in your emotional home or family life that you're finding to be very difficult, is not collaborating, being very stubborn, I think it could get very intense through the last phase of this month, unfortunately. And maybe that quarter moon is going to show that up as well. So you may find yourself being much more outspoken and much more to the point, and the other person may be surprised. Which brings us, Aquarius, to the Sagittarius blue moon on the last day. Now, The interesting thing about this event is the moon and the sun clearly in opposition, but the moon's in the free spirited Sagittarius. So you have a kind of simpatico with Sagittarius energy. And it suggests that you could have more than one admirer as the curtain comes down on this month, which could be really very nice, but could also add a layer of complexity. And also, it's true that Uranus, your modern ruler, is in a T square with both the south and the north node. So, a financial issue, maybe you want to be more spontaneous with your resources, maybe something that comes up as well. But I think you could have a little bit of a choice to make. It may be about your work, whether to do something more creative, whether to stick with what you know, but it could be about that flirtatious relationship. But don't be surprised if someone close to you doesn't quite get what you're trying to do. And that obstinacy that's going to show up in the last 10 days of this month sadly could show up again. I've produced a moon factoid, which you can download Aquarius free under the video. It tells you all about the astronomy, the astrology, the mythology. It gives you a flavour for the moon in each of the 12 signs and also in each of the 12 houses. But the reason we have a blue moon is the moon cycle is just over 29 days in full. So if we multiply that by 12, we get more than 365 days. And every 2.7 years, we get the blue moon. And this blue moon is really very intriguing because do you remember at the start of the forecast, I told you that Venus and Saturn were in a lovely sextile? Well, they end the month in a really awkward square. So whether it's a relationship with someone within your family or that person that you've had the flirtatious connection with, it's going to be tested at the end of this month by that. And also Mars and Pluto being in a very stubborn standoff. Now, I'm going to summarize those four areas for you in terms of energy, work, relationships, and finances. So, energy, I feel, does need some care. If you're carrying a lot of the load and trying to balance, uh, say, kids, supporting parents, work, it's a lot right at the start of the month. So do really give yourself permission to find your voice. Because when the Sun and Mercury in the fourth house, we can be a bit inhibited, but it does require a degree of delicacy in order to keep things on an even keel because nervous energy can definitely increase from the time the sun moves into Gemini from the 21st, but in a very exciting way. You could get lots of invitations and you could be dashing here and there. But right at the start of the month, if you remember, Mars is in that square with Jupiter, and that does suggest as long as you don't overdo it, you do have a chance to work on your energy in terms of building up your stamina and resilience. Now, in terms of finance, the North Node is in that second house for the whole of the month, asking you to trust the process when it comes to improving the foundations of your world. But once the Sun moves to join up with Uranus in the fifth house, that can be more speculative. But I wouldn't make quick decisions around money. As far as your professional situation is concerned, if you like the people and you feel very comfortable, I don't feel that that full moon at the start of the month is going to tip that up. What you do need to be doing is something that helps you to use your mind. If you're not doing that or your job is very dull, I think it's going to change and it's going to change relatively quickly. I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope reports. It's now 3 for the price of 1. You pay for your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand the patterns that are played out so far, but get a more intimate understanding of them and work with those energies future forwards that much better. Free, you get your 12 months transit forecast and also your draconic soul karmic analysis. 3 for the price of 1. Please see below for more. Why? I've been full-time for 30 years, but my interest in astrology came through when I was 14. The first classical album I ever got was The Planets, which is about astrology, not astronomy. And ever since then, it's been a major part of my life. Natal astrology helps us to really navigate this particular journey that much better. By sharing the love about natal astrology, I hope to help others too. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your May monthly forecast, please see that on the screen. Yet to watch your Pluto retrograde 5-month forecast on the screen. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please see my testimonials below. And if you've yet to take advantage of my free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning, please do so now. Get that early day celestial pit stop. And also, if you want to take advantage of my Moon Guide download, you can see that below too. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great May, Aquarius. All the best and goodbye.